Hi, I'm Kaylee.
And I'm Summer, and we are Women to Women. We have created this community to help women remove judgment and shame away from themselves by educating women on women.
We hope to create a safe space where you feel heard, understood, and empowered to connect to the woman you are on the inside.
Today we're going to be talking about self-love, and this is a topic that we are both so connected to, and we're going to start this with a poem from Kaylee.
So this was written in 2023. Okay.
19-year-old Kaylee.
I know. The most beautiful experience one can discover is self-love. The freedom and respect you earn is unmatched. Knowing what truly makes you happy and doing what you love. Being able to care for yourself more than anyone else can. I used to think self-love were all these big things you had to do. Take yourself on holidays 3 times a year, wake up every morning and love the person you see in the mirror. Always being happy and well looked after. But when I realised self-love is small, consistent forms of self-care, becoming routine and then noticing changes, I fell even more in love with it. Brushing my teeth? Yep. Writing my journal? Oh no, but I did that yesterday, so I'll give myself a pass. Went for a walk? Smiled at my reflection? Yep. Said a positive statement? Yep, easy. Had my breakfast? I did. These daily tasks we complete that are just routine or normal for us is self-care. We are doing it for our body, mind and soul. We believe or grow up to think they are just a necessity in life, so we must complete them. But if you really think about it, every day you have a choice to do those things and you still chose to. Yes, you may not journal daily or go for a walk, but during your week you did all those little things that mattered, and it really does add up. You realise the way you care for yourself, the way it makes you feel, stopping to get a coffee so you feel more awake, making yourself dinner the day before so you know you will eat it. I didn't know I had so much self-love as I did because I didn't love the way I looked every morning or feel 100% every day. Our understanding, or at least my understanding of self-love, was incorrect. Now I am so much happier, more energetic, motivated, and just properly content within myself, knowing that these small things I do every day show me that I care and want to nourish myself. Self-love is easy some days and hard on others, just like any form of love. But you don't give up after one argument, after one harder day. You wake up and restart. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. Become the person you want to be. And soon you'll be living in a day that you once dreamed of. Love yourself harder than you love anyone. Love yourself harder than you love any other being. And you'll thank yourself in the years to come. Aww, I can just imagine she's not even anywhere near that I was, and she writes that so beautifully. That's so cute.
It is. Self-love and the relationship that you build with yourself is so important, and it's so inspiring for your everyday life. It gives you so much motivation just to keep going with your passions and keep waking up ready for a new day. And I think your poem puts it so perfectly that not every day has to be perfect, and you don't have to feel really good about yourself every single day to know that self-love's in there. And sometimes that self-love is acknowledging that you don't have it in you today and allowing yourself time to just sit and pause and take a break from everyday life and just focus completely on yourself, no matter what that may look like within that day.
I think the important aspects of self-love, apart from being your best supporter and loving yourself in those good days, is loving yourself and giving yourself that rest in those harder days. Because love of any form, you're always going to have days of not connecting as deeply as you know you can, and that is the exact same with yourself. So self-love can actually grow bigger, I believe, when you are able to nurture yourself, be compassionate with yourself during those days, and just have patience that you know that this is just a time that will pass and you're going to help yourself get back onto the track that you want.
That's what I love about what you said and what you wrote in your poem, is that the self-love in those days that are harder allowing yourself time to not always do those things and actually just do what you need to do to keep yourself in a place where you aren't feeling guilty and aren't feeling bad about yourself, and forcing yourself to do these acts of what may be really good self-love in the days that you are feeling good may be really negatively impacting you in those days where you're not, because it can feel forced and you're not really getting those added benefits from it, and it can feel like that it's not something that's genuinely helping you, rather than something that you think that you have to do. But learning to understand what your body and what your mind actually needs each day is so important in keeping yourself motivated, keeping yourself happy, and keeping yourself excited to experience what that day is going to bring you.
I love it. What is your interpretation of self-love? Like when you hear someone say self-love, or I have so much self-love, what does that mean to you?
This is it's a hard way to put it in a sentence, because self-love to me it's kind of like a blanket of so many different things, but I do think it's that self-compassion and the curiosity of yourself with everyday experiences that you do feel and experience, and nurturing yourself in a way that brings you so much joy and passion, and understanding where you may be, instead of filling yourself with doubt and disappointment if you're not achieving those things, and being appreciative of what your mind and body is allowing you to achieve, whether it be half as much as you did yesterday or 3 times as much as you did yesterday, and acknowledging and celebrating what you're achieving.
I love it. Yeah, that's very good. It is, nurturing the relationship you have with yourself, very self-compassionate as well. But I think self-love is everything that we get taught to do to others, where you set those healthy boundaries, you care for the people, you talk to them nicely, you just appreciate who you are and who you're becoming, and you're just putting in that time to nurture your mind, your body, your soul, and not just solely focusing on your physical appearance or just your mental well-being. It's everything as a whole, because I really struggled with setting boundaries with other people, but then when I reflected, it's because I struggled to set boundaries with myself as well. And when I learnt to, if I say I'm going to do something, follow through with it, actually do it. So I'm building that trust within myself, and then I can learn where I want my energy to go and where I want to hold my energy, so I can put it into more things that I love, because what I love is a form of self-care and self-love, because I'm fueling my body with the things that I love, so then I'm just surrounded by it. And it's just so cool, because I don't know, I just think the word self-love, I didn't really ever understand it. I thought it was self-love and self-care were like, oh, on the weekend you put a face mask on yourself and you just sit in front of a candle, and that's self-love. You're giving yourself that love for an hour a week. But it's actually not just small things that you do in your life, it's a lifestyle. It's how you treat yourself every single day. And just at the beginning, it is hard because it's foreign to us. It's not normal for us to do that if you have been self-critical or just not as caring or loving as you want to be. But pushing past those awkward or uncomfortable phases where everyone begins, that is where you begin to build that self-trust, that self-love, and just hold so much patience and understanding within yourself. It's just so cute.
I love that you brought up boundaries, because I think that is such an important part of self-love, and it's something that I definitely really struggled with. And when I was going through my self-impact journal that you so happy that you gave me, I got stuck on that page for so long, and I learnt that it was because of that exact thing. I didn't even know how to put boundaries up with myself, so how could I expect to stand my ground with my boundaries with others. And learning to set my own boundaries was so important and so beneficial in my own growth, and really connecting myself with myself and building that self-compassionate relationship, because I actually understood what I wanted and what I needed and what I really didn't want. And it really helped me know and understand who I wanted to surround myself with, but also where I want to be and who I want to continue to grow into being, because I have those boundaries set of what I love and what I don't love, what I want in my life, what I don't want in my life. And it begins that clear understanding it begins the clear understanding of what you want to then be able to communicate with yourself and with others, to really build that trust, especially within yourself.
Yeah, boundaries was such a big pillar that I had to try and overcome, because I sucked at it. Like, I was so bad. But the thing that helped me was when I did establish, like, on paper what boundaries I wanted to set, or what I didn't want in my life anymore and what I did. It's so much easier to just write them out than actually implement it into your life, because you know exactly what you want, but then you find yourself falling into cycles or falling into traps. And that is what I had to acknowledge, was just because I've acknowledged what I want to do and what I don't want to do doesn't mean that it's going to magically happen in my life. Like, I have to be putting in that conscious effort to actually be like, no, I don't want to do this. So there's nothing wrong with me saying, oh no, I actually don't want to do this today, or I've actually outgrown that. And a thing that with some of the aspects that you do set boundaries, it will come easier to stop doing it or to begin doing it, but some will be harder, and that comes down to how long you've been doing it, your subconscious programming, and just cycles. Sometimes it is unconscious. Like, our conscious brain's like, no, I don't want to do this, but then we find ourselves doing it unconsciously. And it's just when we do find ourselves doing that, going into that things that we don't want to do, it's a lot easier to just acknowledge that, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to be mad at myself. I'm not going to just be mad at myself. I'm going to understand that this has happened, and I will try, when I feel that myself pulling towards something that I don't want to do again, or doing something that I don't really align with, I'm allowing myself to firstly acknowledge that this is something I don't want to do. But if I do go into it because I'm comfortable and it's just familiar with me, doesn't mean that I'm set back and I have to start again. It's just a little step back. And I think that's the thing with self-love, because with a relationship, with a partner, with family members, they do things in life that you might not agree with, or things that they want to improve on, but they have a fallback. You're never like, right, you're done then. But that's what we do to ourselves. And I think it's so important for us to remember that sometimes when you are speaking harshly to yourself, or you're not doing the things that you said that you wanted to do, try and put yourself in a different perspective and think of how you'd respond if you were someone else. Because it's so easy to get into those spirals of just, no, I'm so bad. See, I can't do anything. See, I set these, but I can't do it. But it takes time, and it's so natural for so many of us, especially my journey with growing self-love, but also setting healthy boundaries, is it does take time. But the more you repeat it, the more consistently you do it, it will become your new normal. It will become your new habits, and then it will be your lifestyle.
Yeah, wow. Something that has really helped me with my self-love is to not be so much of a people pleaser. I always found that I was putting everyone else's needs and wants and happiness before my own, and setting that boundary really, really changed the way that I felt about myself, because I was consistently doing what others wanted to do. I was just falling into the same habits as other people because I wanted them to be happy, and it wasn't. Some things it obviously made me happy and I enjoyed, but like a lot of things, like it wasn't what I wanted to do, or it wasn't conversations that I wanted to be a part of, but I didn't have the confidence to actually say something. And then when I'd be alone in my own thoughts, I would make myself feel bad about it, and I'd be really negative to myself about this. And learning to set those boundaries and even just acknowledging that my opinion, my feelings, what I want to do actually matters, and communicating those, and that creates the, what's the word? When you want something, I want something. Compromisation. And it helps others understand who you truly are, and it helps you know whether they actually align with who you are, and whether that's someone that is going to continue to grow with you or not, depending on how you want your life and your journey to be. And that can only come through communicating how you feel and what you want, and not just always falling into what other people love and want to do, and actually falling into what you love and what you want to do.
Yeah, that is my exact next point. It was, you can't just think, like, it's literally like meeting a new potential partner. You want to get to know them, you want to know what they're about, so you can see if your values align, if that's someone that you want to be with. That's what you have to do with yourself. You have to discover yourself. You have to look within and reflect and see what you love in life, what brings you happiness, what your values are, what your beliefs are, what makes you who you are, outside of your obligations, your physical appearances, like who you are in your soul, who you want to be as well. Because even though sometimes who we are, we write all the things about who we are, we can also write about who we want to be. Like, that person is us, it's just we haven't seen them yet. But there's literally no limit to who we can become. And the sooner that we define who we want to be and who we want to become in the future, the sooner we can begin to implement those actions and create those steps that align with that. So then every day we're working towards that. And that is, I think, such a powerful form of self-love, because you're putting in that effort and that work and that time to better yourself in that present moment. So you know your future self will be like, thank you so much. And just even knowing what you love or what brings you happiness. Like, I probably didn't even know, like, if someone said, like, what do you love? I'd be like,
Footy?
Yeah, footy, my family. But like, I wouldn't know bigger things, like what actually is who I am. And I just think it's so important for us to set that intentional time alone, away from the noise of the world, to discover who we are and who we want to be and where we want to go.
Yeah, and it really helps once you do sit down and spend that time with yourself to discover who you are, to really allow yourself to surround yourself with things that are going to motivate you and bring you so much passion to achieve who you want to be. Because especially with social media and everyone pushing what makes them fill their cup, what brings them joy, what brings them self-love, that may be nothing that fills your cup. And if you compare your reaction and how you feel about what they do to yourself, it may fill you with less hope, because it may not work for you. But understanding who you actually are and who you want to be, it gives you an understanding of how you're going to get there and what you need to implement into your own life to get there. And you can find your own things that really bring you so much joy and really fill your cup, and also what attributes about yourself that you really want to lean into, and what things that you need to step away from.
Yeah, and that's why because when my journals, I didn't really know what I loved or what my new values or love was, because I felt like I completely lost the girl that knew what she loved. So in my journal, Self-Impact, there's a little, for the coping strategies, all the different ways, and you tick it if you try it and then you rate it. That's what I did with different things of what I thought that I might like. Like, I listed it out. If I tried something new, it's all about trial and error. Everything that I tried I didn't like, so then I knew that, okay, that's not something for me, that's something for someone else. But the more that you try new experiences and try new things, that's when you discover or rediscover your love and passions for certain things. And even because some people might be listening to this and be like, well, I don't know what I love, like I genuinely can't think of anything, or what brings me joy, what my beliefs or values are. But when you become aware that, okay, I don't really understand this, your perspective changes as you go through your day, because you're trying to figure out, oh, okay, I'm on a walk, but I keep getting distracted to a tree. Maybe I like trees. And then you just discover and rekindle with different aspects in life, and you can feel what brings you joy, and then just writing it down, because I'm so big on writing things down, because that's how you can reflect, that's how you can learn patterns and habits and just things that really mean something to you. And then you can look back on that list and be like, okay, I'm going to try this one, or I'm going to try this again, and you can just discover what you love.
I love that you spoke about that, because I went for a walk with a friend and this was exactly what we were talking about, and I set her a challenge to try 5 new experiences that she hasn't done either in a very long time or ever before, to push herself out of that comfort zone, to see what she actually genuinely loves and what is going to bring her joy in life. Because I feel like sometimes we can get so stuck in what we already know, what we already do, what we already know brings us happiness, but there's so many things in the world. There's so many things to experience, there's so many things to learn, and there's so many things to consume yourself in, but we just aren't putting ourselves in enough experiences and situations where we can learn these and grow from these things. And the more that you actually do that, like, I just can't explain how exciting it really is to really put yourself out there. And there are going to be things that you do and you're like, I'm never doing that ever again, but you know now. And that's, you can automatically then set up a boundary of, I'm never going to do that again, because I never want to. And at least you put yourself in that situation and you got to learn from it and learn whether you did like it or whether you don't like it. And now you're giving yourself so many more opportunities to continue that growth and continue loving yourself and finding ways to achieve that.
Yeah, well, that is self-love. You're like respecting yourself enough to put yourself in positions where you are trying to discover what you love and what you don't like. Like, that is self-love. That is a form of appreciating that you are who you are, and you're willing to try new things, you're willing to step out of your comfort zone, you are willing to do things that you aren't sure of. And that is so important, because we humans just love familiarity. We love what we know, and we're so, like, not conditioned, but we're just programmed to just continue to do the things that we know in life. And it's hard for us to step outside of that, because that's the unknown, that's scary. But having that respect and just patience with yourself that, okay, I've acknowledged that I want to try something new. Maybe if I don't feel like it today, I will try it in the future. And when you do that, you're like, see, I'm trying it. And that is so powerful, because you're able to trust yourself that you can put yourself in positions that you're not used to or isn't normal for you, but then also have that time to understand if you liked it or if you didn't like it, and then that can go straight to your list, and then you can look back on that and be like, yes, I'm doing that.
It also builds so much confidence within yourself, because you have put yourself in different situations and you have allowed yourself to step out of your box. And most of the time, it's such positive experiences from it, and it really does. You find so many things that you never thought that you would have found before, and so much love for different experiences, and that is so important in our life. Finding things that you genuinely love and surrounding yourself with things that you are passionate about, it reinforces that self-love within you, and that confidence continues to build, and that builds your confidence to set those boundaries and actually follow through with them. Say no when you want to say no, and just consume yourself with things that you want to be consumed by, because you have lowered the fear factor of the potential negative outcomes that could come from it, and you have surrounded yourself with positive outcomes that have actually come from past experiences.
And it is completely normal to try new things and not like it or get scared, but that's the thing that we humans hold, is we have the choice. So we can walk away from things if we don't want to do it. We can say, no, I don't want to do this anymore, and remove yourself.
What has been the biggest impact that self-love has had on your journey so far?
Self-love. I think my ability to love others, because I had an attachment to others before I loved myself. So I thought I mistook.
Mistook?
Is that a word?
Mistook.
No, it's
Yeah.
definitely not. I
Mistook.
misunderstood love. No, I misunderstood attachment for love. So I would think that, oh my God, I love this person, but I was just severely anxiously attached to them. But when I reflected within and learnt about myself, learnt what I loved about myself, my values, everything about me and who I was so content within myself that I respected myself and I knew what I wanted within my life, but also I knew what I wanted in friends or partners and other people, that I could actually form love for them, whether it's platonic or in a relationship, like a romantic love. It's just so cool because, I don't know, I just always thought that maybe I didn't really know how to love others, but since learning how to love myself, I've just been able to really be authentic with my love. But also when I thought that I loved people, I didn't want to show it too much because then I might get hurt. But now that I have so much love within myself, that I know I can love with my all, and that will be the best thing because I don't want to hold back from that. And if we break up, if it isn't going to work, then I am satisfied that I gave my all and all my love. And then if it does happen, then I can come back to myself and I've got that love within myself.
What I love about this is that my answer is somewhat the complete flip side to that. And mine is more, I can feel other people's love for me so much more now that I know how to love myself. I always felt like that other people couldn't love me enough the way that I wanted to be loved, but I wasn't loving myself nearly the amount that I love myself now, not nearly the amount that I need. I'm someone who needs to be surrounded by so much love, and I clearly did not show that to myself whatsoever, because with so many of my relationships I just felt like I wasn't getting enough from it. But since having so much self-love, I'm able to appreciate what others are giving me, and I know what other love can look like instead of just that small bubble of what my brain thought that love looked like. I learnt different ways to love myself, which then taught me that the other ways that other people are also loving me, and it's not just these 5 things are how someone has to show me love for me to be loved. And there is a whole different range of ways to love someone and be loved by someone.
That's so cool. I think a big other impact is understanding other people, because now that I understand myself and I've done a lot of learning about why I respond certain ways, why I do certain things, it can help me understand why other people react certain ways or they say certain things, and it doesn't impact me as much. Like, it's not a dig at me, it's just more of an understanding, and I can be so much more patient and just so much more empathetic and compassionate with other people because I hold that empathy, compassion and patience within myself. And it's just so cool because like the people that are in my life say that I have a very calming presence around them, but it's just because I've just learned to be so content within myself that I have the time to give my energy and patience to others to understand them, because I've spent a lot of freaking time trying to understand myself. And it's just so cool to build those connections and those friendships and relationships that are built on actual fundamental things rather than just the shallow give-take things. It's so cool.
I could not have said that better myself, and that is such an important factor of self-love and the power that self-love actually has, because especially with my own journey, the frustration of not understanding others and others not understanding me, and that just came from not actually giving the time to actually try and understand it, and just trying to be stubborn in my own ways that I just can't understand what you're thinking about. But learning that within myself, that I don't always have to understand why my brain thinks a certain thing, or it just kind of happens. And then going, but then why is that happening? Why is my brain thinking that way? And actually learning to be curious with my own brain has allowed me to also become so curious with others' brains, instead of just being frustrated by what they have to say, and actually really wanting to be consumed with what they have learnt in their life that has made them feel or do that certain thing. Because that's life. It's your own experiences have shaped the way that you think and feel and react to situations, as have mine. And the only way that you can truly understand someone is by understanding what has made them, what has created this outcome for them to feel and think that way. And that also creates so much more contentness with yourself, because you're not always so focused on, am I doing the right thing, am I doing the wrong thing? You just learn that it's your perception and it's your perceivement of your life and the situation, and that's someone else's, and both are okay.
I also think self-love is such a ripple effect, where it's like a little sphere within you, and it just projects out like this massive light, like the sun almost, and others can feel the love that you hold, because you hold it within yourself, so you're showing it to others, you're showing it to the world. Like, since really falling in love with myself, I've fallen in love with so many other things that are in the world, because projection is you're projecting your own inner reality to the outer reality. Subconscious is your own inner thoughts, your own inner reality is manifested and put into its physical equivalents. Like, everything really does begin with your own internal reality, and the perceptions of the world is from your brain, and your brain is from what you are thinking. So it's literally just all of these beautiful things are a cycle, and that's why when I began to really discover myself and begin to cultivate a self-compassionate and self-loving relationship with me, I was just seeing so much more beauty in nature, in other people, in the world, that I genuinely didn't see before. And it's just so beautiful, because that also laps into my self-talk, and then my self-talk laps into my gratitude, and everything is just so beautiful.
I love that you brought up self-talk, because that inner critic, it can be so damaging. And with my journey, a part of that self-talk that was so damaging was, I am quite an emotional person, whether that, if I'm really happy, I want to cry. If I'm really sad, I want to cry. If I'm really angry, I want to cry. I really feel emotions really big. And when my self-love was quite low, I was so critical and so harsh about it. And anytime that I feel myself about to cry, I'm like, of course you're going to cry. And like, you're a bloody sook. Like, it's all you can do is cry. And now that I've really built that self-compassionate relationship with myself, I'm so much more empathetic of, like, I just want to cuddle myself, because I'm like, you're so cute that you have so much like passion and so much love for what's happening around you, that you feel so emotional to cry about it. And I'm able to really not pick apart negatively why I'm feeling that way, and really just allow myself to feel it and understand why I'm feeling that way. And whether it is happy tears, I really allow myself to be consumed by it, and I use the gratitude to appreciate myself for feeling so deeply about this that it has made me emotional. And even with the sad emotions, like, it just shows how much that I care and how much that this has affected me. And that acknowledging that really builds that trust with your self-love, and really builds that connection with yourself, because you're understanding that your emotions, your reactions, they're yours, and they're something to be looked at with curiosity, instead of just consistently judging them and criticizing every time it arises.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about us. We're all so unique. Like, we need to begin to love our differences, love our uniqueness, love our little quirks and things that make us who we are. Because yes, there are so many aspects of ourselves that we can change if we want to change, but you don't want to change everything about yourself. That you want to keep the things that make you happy, or you don't really understand, but when you do understand, you're like, oh, okay, I like that part, and just grow on those aspects and really begin to love them and not try and hide them or push them away or just criticize them. Like, you just want to begin to love your being and who you are, so then you can project that into the world and share your love for yourself to others, which is so cool.
That is back on both points that we just said. That's something that I really tried to do, especially when I feel that need to cry. Like, when I first started this journey and my journey with self-love, I was like, I'm not going to cry at all. Like, I'm going to be able to regulate myself enough not to cry. But now when I feel myself wanting to cry, I allow myself to feel whatever I'm feeling, and if I do continue to cry, then I cry. And if I don't actually need to cry, then I don't cry. But the actual action of crying, it was never the issue. It was my reaction to the action was what was detrimental to my self-love and that compassion relationship with myself, because it was consistent criticism instead of that curiosity. And that change has been so important in my life, because I'm not changing a big aspect of my life, but I'm changing my interpretation of that in my life.
I think that's so important for people that don't really know where to start or are wanting to cultivate that more loving relationship with their self. But literally having an open mind, being curious, and just understanding that you are allowed to be a beginner in life. Like, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to set certain goals and you don't hit them, oh, never mind, I can't do this. Like, you just need to trust yourself, trust the process, and just live life where you're allowing you to go with the flow and go with the natural course of the journey rather than trying to force things. Because if I had set, like, 6 months from now, I'm going to love this part of myself, like, it's not going to happen because I have it in the back of my mind, and it's going to be like forced or fake in a way. It's just, you never compare your journey to someone else's, because you could be on chapter 1, they could be on chapter 10, and you just always reflect within, because your main competition, like it said in the poem, should be the person that you were yesterday. And if you wake up one day feeling 1% happier than you did yesterday, guess what? You're a better version of yourself. And it's just always having that motivation to be, I am trying to better myself. I'm doing this for myself, for my well-being, for my spiritual health, for my mental health, for my physical health, for me, and also the future self of me as well.
Love it. That perception is so crazy to me. The way that you can change your perception, the power that actually has for yourself. Like, I can't explain how much that has helped me throughout my journey, and it's probably been one of the biggest aspects of my journey, is the change in perception. Because my brain loves to be a negative Nancy, and it has for
also loves to be always in the right.
I'm getting there. That is exactly where I'm getting to. I am the biggest perfectionist, and that is why this journey felt like it took so long to actually begin, because, like, everything had to be perfect, and I had to do the 12 things that I wanted to achieve from day one, and if one of them failed, then they all failed, and then that was it. I can't help myself. I've tried and I've had enough. This is just unfixable. And that's just so silly, and it's something that I kept on doing over and over again. A month later, go, all right, we're going to try again. And then I'd mess up one day and then be the end of the world again. And I just couldn't, but I wasn't allowing my brain to go, no, you can try again tomorrow. I was allowing myself to be consumed and believe those thoughts that I can't do it. I'm not good enough at this yet. I need to grow more before I can do this, which you don't. This is going to help you grow. And even if you do miss a day, even if you miss a week, as long as you come back to it, you've got to come back to it, and you've got to believe in yourself to come back to it. You will.
Yep.
And you don't have to wait till next week. You can go whenever you go, damn, should have done that yesterday. Well, guess what? Now you have the chance to do it today.
Yeah, exactly. and it says like, you miss something, it doesn't matter, you can wake up and restart. Like, it's so true. Every day, that is so cool that we're able to sleep. So when we wake up, it's literally a fresh start. It doesn't have to be after you sleep, it can be whenever you want. If your mind's like, okay, I'm going to start this right now, it doesn't matter what time it is, what day it is, where you are, just start. Like, it's so cool. And sometimes the hardest steps are to start, but if you can do that first step, then literally nothing can stop you from achieving what you want. It doesn't matter how long it takes you. You just got to have that trust within yourself, belief that you can do it, and just really focus on what you want to achieve. And obviously I love to reflect, so having that journal or that notes on your phone, or just a video, just anything that you can come back to and be like, oh my gosh, like I have done it, or oh my gosh, I thought that I hadn't done nearly enough growth as I thought I wanted to, but look how much growth I have done, which is, yeah, so cool.
That is something that really reflected, especially throughout this year. I really thought that I was nowhere near in a place to begin like really healing the parts of me that I used to hold on to with so much guilt and shame, and allow myself to like really let go from it through just acknowledging like I can just keep doing things, small things to help me continue to grow, doing things that really bring me so much joy and love. And it really just came, and it really just put in perspective of the more that I learned and the more that I grew, the more that I realized how much growth I had already done without even really taking deliberate time to do it. And then once I started actually taking deliberate time to do it, it just felt so much more consuming, and so much more, because it was deliberate, it felt like I was really, really putting in the work, and I felt so proud of myself, and that belief within myself just kept growing and growing and growing. And I feel like every day I wake up, that belief just keeps growing and growing and growing. Something that I really, really struggle with is when I've had like a rough day, waking up the next day with that new fresh mindset, but being okay with all it has to do is be better than yesterday. It doesn't have to be as great as it was last week. You just have to try and make it better than yesterday. And that's something that I really struggle with, especially with that perfectionism. Is like, I had a bad day. Like, no, tomorrow it's going to be the best day. Tomorrow doesn't have to be the best day. You just have to feel better than what yesterday made you feel.
Yeah. What is one like piece of advice or something that you wish you heard, or something someone would have told you on your journey of self-love?
Be curious over judgmental over my entire being, whether that be my physical attributes, whether it be an emotion that I feel, an experience that I want to do. Be so curious around it instead of judging every little thing about it. I think that has brought so much of that self-love and connection to myself, because I'm not surrounded by judgment, fear and doubt, and it's curiosity, it's excitement, and it's growth.
Cute.
What about you?
Mine would be to create habits in your life that nurture your mind, body and soul. I think some of us can get into the trap of just focusing on some aspects of our being, of us, and then we don't really focus on other parts. But we are a whole integrated system. Like we are all balanced. We're working together. We're always communicating different parts of ourselves. So really focusing on those three aspects, I think, can just help form that love and that trust and that understanding within yourself. And also keeping a journal. I love writing down things.
Yeah. Writing is so underrated.
It is.
It is so underrated, and it's something that I underrated so much growing up. But I reckon that's because when I was younger, when you get told that you have a journal, it's Dear Diary, I did this today. And so that was like, I guess, my perception of what journaling is. And that just was not it for me at all. I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
But actually learning and understanding like what journaling can look like for you, and it doesn't have to be a certain way, and it is whatever you want it to be, is so powerful. And it's really just like, it's so exciting to put that pen and paper and just allow your mind to just run free.
Yeah. Well, people say if you write down a problem that you have, you've already solved half of it. So,
well, I love that, because something that I found that was the thing that really started making me journal was every time I felt so heated with emotion, I didn't know how to express it, I'd just write down exactly what I'd feel, and I wouldn't allow myself time to stop and think, and I'd just word vomit. And by the very end of it, I would start really harsh, really negative about the situation or about myself. And by the end of it, I was so compassionate, so understanding, and I'd almost written the answers to solve my own problems. I didn't even have to fully consciously be aware of what I was doing. I just kind of shut my physical body off and just let my brain take over the paper, and it literally did do exactly that. It allowed me to express how I was feeling, and then it flips it automatically into problem solving. It's so cool.
That's a belief that I hold so deeply within me, that us humans hold all the answers to any question, problem, obstacle that we face. It's just that we turn to external influences, external factors to try and help us, instead of diving within and really setting time with ourselves to ask ourselves the question, but then setting the time aside to allow ourselves the space and time to answer that question or problem or obstacle. Because just because we ask ourselves and we expect an answer, then it's not like, it doesn't always happen instantly. Like, sometimes you're able to find solutions or answers to questions that you ask yourself, but the deeper ones, you do have it within you, and you do have it around. It's just waiting to see if you're able to pick up on those signals of those signs and of the answers that are provided.
The journey back to yourself is the most important journey that you will go through, and it is the one that will bring you so much joy and excitement and love in your life. And really cultivating that self-compassionate relationship with yourself really just fills your whole entire cup up, because you're surrounding yourself with so much of what you love, what you want in your life, and it is just something that I could not recommend highly enough to start working towards and growing into.
Yeah, the longest relationship you will ever have is the one with yourself. So really begin to understand yourself, be curious with yourself, be open-minded, and just understand who you are, what you love, what brings you happiness, and make that longest relationship your strongest one too.
Thank you.